This is the Project Management Podcast. We bring project management to beginners and experts. Find us on the web at pm-podcast.com or send your emails to info@pm-podcast.com. Hello and welcome to episode number 164. I am Cornelius Fichtner. This is the Project Management Podcast. Nice to have you with us. If you are a regular listener of the Project Management Podcast, then you know that at the end of the year, we always produce a slightly humorous bloopers episode, where you can listen in to all those funny moments when things went wrong and nothing worked the way that it should have. Well, unfortunately, we have done this for 5 years now, and we're getting really good at not making too many mistakes, so there aren't really too many of those bloopers, and the episode is going to be really short. So in an effort to bring you something new and to keep you entertained, we decided to, this year, create a podcast with predictions from project managers around the world. So we invited 7 guests to this and next week's show to tell us their predictions for project management in 2011. This episode of the Project Management Podcast is sponsored by Wrike. How do you keep your team up to date on all projects? Wrike's social project management software helps thousands of managers worldwide organize their project data in one spot and ensure the seamless collaboration of their employees. With Wrike, collaborating on multiple projects is as easy as navigating a social network. Keep your team members on the same page. Collaborate twice as efficiently as you did before. Start a free trial today at Wrike.com. That's WRIKE.com. And here are our guests in the order of appearance. Mark Perry from BOT International at botinternational.com goes first. Then Tom Mokel from 10step at 10step.com. Elizabeth Herron from pmforgirls.com, Terry Dersher from PlanView, whose blog you can find at planview.com/enterprise-navigator-blog, Ian Knox, Vice President of Marketing from Daptive.com, my good friend Josh Nankivil from pmstudent.com, and last but not least, Hal Maycomber from reformingprojectmanagement.com. And now, take out your crystal ball, start chanting, and enjoy the predictions.
Hello, this is Mark Perry from BOT International, a small boutique PMO firm that for over a decade has specialized in rebrandable content assets for your PMO. As always, it is a pleasure to listen to Cornelius's podcasts, and it is enjoyable to be on them as well. Predictions for 2011. What a great topic. And yes, I have a few predictions for 2011, and let me give one of them now. This is a positive prediction. In the year 2011, after over a decade of talking about the PMO in terms of PMO models, people, process, and tools, and selling the PMO, which has resulted in untold PMO failures, execution difficulties, and false starts, the project management community will abandon these misguided catchphrases and mindsets in favor of a business-driven and constituent-oriented focus and discussion about how PMOs can meet the project-related needs that companies and organizations of all shapes and sizes face. Now, this is a bold prediction. In fact, just last week, a project management newsletter found its way into my inbox. In this newsletter, one of the so-called experts in project management provided 3 tips for setting up a PMO. Tip 1, select a PMO model of the many approaches out there. Tip 2, list out your PMO roles and responsibilities. And tip 3, continually sell the value of your PMO. In my opinion, this is the worst advice you can give an organization considering a PMO. Fortunately, after years of poor results, this kind of thinking is on its way out, and only a few pundits typically trainers and consultants still advocate such theoretical and inwardly focused approaches. PMOs do not exist to form an organization of some kind and implement processes, tools, and training. While this might serve the project management community well in terms of tool sellers, trainers, and organizations promoting their certification, this is not the business reason for having a PMO. What is now in, and what I predict for 2011, is that PMOs of all shapes and sizes will no longer talk about setting up a PMO using terms like PMO models, people, process, and tools, and selling the PMO. Rather, they will talk about the PMO in terms of the business-driven reasons for having a PMO in the first place. And these reasons for having the PMO will be based upon the needs of the business and what the executives need from the PMO, their PMO, not someone else's theoretical idea of what a PMO should be or should do. Cornelius, back over to you.
Hi, this is Tom Mokel from 10Step. We're a company that specializes in project, program, and portfolio management and helping companies set up and run PMOs. I have a couple of predictions for next year and the coming years. And the first one is that companies are going to have more focus on the execution of work in both 2011 and beyond. And what I mean by that is over the last couple of years, I think there's been a pretty relentless focus in many companies about cutting costs because of the economy, cutting people, but also trying to cut costs, not just in IT, but in sales and manufacturing and finance and in all the business areas. This has resulted in a pent-up demand for work, valuable work that has not been able to be implemented because of the focus on cutting costs. In 2011 and beyond, this pent-up demand is going to start coming to the surface. And I don't think that that's going to translate immediately into companies going out and hiring lots and lots of people. I think there will be hiring, for everything I see, is that the hiring will come back, but it's not going to come back all at once. I think companies are going to be cautious. So rather than just say, we have all this demand, we're going to go out and hire people, I think what we'll see is that companies are going to try to get more efficient and effective in terms of how they're managing work and how they're executing work in their organizations. And this is going to lead to an increased focus in project management, program management, portfolio management. Now, these are the kind of things that we do as a company. And so on the surface, you might think I'm just promoting our own kind of services, but I think actually that companies are seeing this, and we're seeing it in terms of the demand that we're getting. Our company is seeing an increased demand from organizations that know they need to get better at managing projects and better at portfolio management, which is making sure the right projects are implemented. Companies have these big backlogs of demand for projects. They can't do them all, so they have to make sure that they're doing the ones that are of most importance. And that's where a lot of the portfolio management processes come in. So I think that's going to be key for the next couple of years, and I think there will be an increased demand for project managers and project management training and project management processes, and perhaps more companies establishing PMOs to help guide projects and project managers. I think this whole area about being smarter about how they do processes is going to be the next key thing. And then ultimately it'll transition into we just need more people besides. At that point, costs will have been cut, people will have more efficient and effective processes, and then they'll realize in order to get more work done than that, they'll just have to have more people to provide more horsepower. But I think at least next year and in the maybe the next 18 months, 24 months, this focus on better project management and portfolio management will be a key element of what we'll see in the market.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Harrin, and I'm the author of Social Media for Project Managers and Project Management in the Real World. I also write the blog A Girl's Guide to Project Management, which you can find at www.pmforgirls, that's the number 4.co.uk. I'm the head of IT program delivery for a UK healthcare company, and I run a business writing consultancy called the Otterboss Group. And this is my first prediction. This year, we've had a lot going on about green project management. Rich Maltzman and David Shirley brought out a new book. There's been plenty of case studies about green projects being run in response to green initiatives. And the British Computer Society, the Chartered Institute for IT in the UK, launched a Green IT certificate and an accompanying book. And I know that green is high on the agenda for PMI, with one of this year's North America Congress speakers being community revitalisation expert Storm Cunningham. So this year we've also had the Carbon Reduction Commitment Energy Efficiency Scheme in the UK. And I think that as companies start to realise what this will mean for them in terms of their position in the published league tables, there will be a lot more green-led change projects during 2011. My second prediction for 2011 is that project management tools will start to add more social media features. This is already happening, and social media and project management software companies are adding in more social media type features to their software. I don't actually think this is the way that people should be going. I think really software manufacturers should be looking at aggregating other existing platforms into their project management tools. So creating really a wrapper around the different types of tools that are already available. And the reason I think that is something that we should be looking at in 2011, or that software manufacturers should be looking at, is that people don't want to be building their network twice. I already have a network in LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, and I already have my favorite blogs, my RSS feeds. I don't want to set all of that up in another project management software tool. I think it dilutes the power of what's already available. So while I think we will see software providers integrating social media type features into their products, actually what would be good to see, and I hope it happens next year, is somebody coming up with an aggregator, a wrapper, a portal to consolidate different platforms, different social media platforms, and present it in a way that's useful for you at work.
Hello, my name is Terry Dorsher, and I'm the Chief Process Architect with PlanView. PlanView is the leading independent supplier of portfolio management software and solutions. You can find out more at www.planview.com. My second prediction about 2011 is going to be that the PMO will continue to play an increasingly important role in organizations. Last month, we did a follow-up survey to our original 2008 PMO 2.0 survey to establish some trends. We asked almost exactly the same questions, and many of the over 500 responses we received were remarkably similar to the original data, which, bear in mind, was obtained just prior to that abrupt economic downturn that we saw in late September of 2008. So the fact that the results didn't change much was a big surprise to me. In particular, and as history might suggest, I was really expecting to see quite a bit of carnage within the PMO community as part of cost-cutting measures that have been going on, but that really wasn't the case. Many more PMOs survived than I would have expected. And in fact, I mentioned the 2010 PMO Symposium that the PMI SIG hosts. They did their third one this year in Dallas in November. Not only did it continue to grow, but it actually sold out. They had to turn people away because attendance was through the roof. I think one thing that the survey pointed out that did change was the relative impact of some common operational challenges. Virtually every one of the top 20 challenges shifted more in their degree of impact and level of criticality. In particular, we saw big jumps with problems with getting organizational alignment, interdepartmental politics, levels of organizational maturity, and the effects of departmental silos, which is still the number one issue on the list. Every one of these issues are things that an effective PMO can help to mitigate. I'll be publishing the 2010 PMO 2.0 Trending Survey Report and conducting a companion webcast to explore the complete survey results in January for those that are interested. But the reason why we're going to see the PMO continue to become more of an organizational imperative goes back to my first prediction about the need for more project management adaptability, not just at the project level, but also on a more strategic level. As planning horizons continue to shrink in the future, PMOs are being asked to facilitate the need to continually assess and adjust strategy, and then to communicate these shifts and deftly redirect the resources of the organization in response. We saw a lot of interest in this at the symposium. So the PMO is going to continue to be an important aspect in much the same way I think that you see as HR groups and IT groups have become, in that is going to be an essential shared services provider of some specialized capabilities that is going to be used across organizational boundaries.
And let me ask you this, Terry, as a follow-up. If people are interested in your follow-up survey, the 2010 version of this, where can they go to and learn more about how to download it and listen to, I believe it was a webcast that you mentioned, right?
Right. Well, at the time that we're recording this, Cornelius, we don't have the specifics for the registration set up yet. But you can always follow my blog, which you can find at planview.com, or just do a web search on the Enterprise Navigator and PMO, and I'm sure it'll pop up. And I'll be providing information there about the upcoming survey, some of the early results and analysis of that, and where you can get the survey itself and sign up for the webcast.
Excellent. Thanks for your prediction, Terry.
You're quite welcome, Cornelius. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Ian Knox. I'm VP of Marketing at Daptiv. We are available at www.daptiv.com and provide project management software.
All right. Before you go on with your prediction, Ian, I have to ask you this because you're the only vice president of marketing that we're hearing from here in this predictions episode. So why should my listeners, they're all project managers, why should they listen to you as a vice president of marketing in regards to predictions for project management?
Well, Cornelius, that's a very good question. I spent the first 10 years of my career project managing IT projects in the UK and in the US. And I also worked at Microsoft for a while and worked on project management software there. So have a lot of project management background.
All right, that's good enough for me. Please go ahead. What is your prediction?
Well, first prediction for next year is around social software and enterprise collaboration colliding. So I think there's a lot of hype right now around social software, social networks, those kind of things. And really, it's a sort of an extension of a trend that's been happening for a while around enterprise collaboration. So what we see a lot is people being very interested in new ways to collaborate. And, you know, often when people hear social software, they think of things like Facebook and those kind of things. But it's really a lot broader than that. So I can give you an example. So, you know, with a lot of the Web 2.0 technologies coming around, there's really interesting ways to interact. So you can imagine, for instance, you have much more interactivity. So, for instance, a resource manager and a project manager can look at a resource grid online, similar to the way you might use Google Spreadsheets, and both see what they're doing at once and be able to adapt and change to that. So it enables, even that simple interactivity enables a lot of collaboration. We're also seeing, you know, a lot of project managers looking at things like wikis, looking at interactive blogs. But one of the most interesting things we've seen from our customer base is just this real interest in activity feeds. So it may not be, you know, I'm posting what I'm doing, but it's more about real information about what people are doing on projects, what activities they're doing, and then bubbling that up so you can get a sort of qualitative view of project execution in addition to sort of more quantitative things you typically see.
Hi, this is Josh with PMStudent.com. For my 2011 predictions, I've got a few categories that I'd like to go through. Starting out with technology-driven. So some of the things that I think are going to happen in 2011 are, I think we're going to see an increase of 4G mobile adoption and development for mobile devices, and this will increase the availability of team collaboration applications and options. So that would be for just distributed teams or really anything that you can think of. I think that IT spending will recover and drive mostly towards more virtualization and cloud computing, software as a service, so a service-oriented architecture. I think those are going to be much more of a focus. So I think the additional spending that we're going to see in 2011 in IT spending is going to be focused on those areas because of the flexibility that those provide and just the benefits that you get from that type of technology. And I think that technology advances will continue to enable flexible software architecture and continue to move in that direction and enable a lean, agile development lifecycle along with that. Because the more service-oriented your architecture is, the more virtualization that you've got there, the more agile and dynamic that you can be, and the less that you feel a little bit more comfortable with not knowing or trying to plan your design in the very beginning that you would in a true waterfall project, and you can leave a little bit more to to essentially be coming up as you're developing, as you're implementing the project in more of an iterative fashion. So I think that because of all those things, that Lean and Agile will continue to gain ground in 2011 as well. In terms of education for project management, I expect to see grants and scholarships specific for project management education increase. I was a judge for the PMI Educational Foundation's scholarships and grants this last year, and I think we're going to see more applicants. Every year there's been more applicants, and I think we're going to see more money available for education as well. And then kind of in line with that, a continuing trend for more project management degrees that are out there, more universities and colleges offering those. Back when I got my degree in project management, the university that I got it from was just one of a handful of universities that had a degree specific to project management. That's been increasing and increasing all the time, and I think we're going to continue to see that in 2011 as well. And also training. So I know that I plan on putting out and increasing my offering for training, for project management training in 2011 as well. And for social networking for project managers in general, just the online, the community that we have online, I think that's going to increase. We're going to see increased adoption. Many more project managers are going to get wind of, the blogs, the podcasts, the social networking sites that are out there for project managers to be able to use and connect with other project managers and in that way share lessons learned and just get better at what we do. So I think we're going to have an increased adoption there by quite a bit in 2011. And a lot of these technology advances, I think, will kind of enable that. And then I think also with the social networking, I think we'll kind of see a consolidation of platforms in 2011. So there's kind of been an explosion of different blogs and platforms. So you've got Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, you go in there, I think I've got 30 or 40 groups that I belong to in LinkedIn. You've got a lot of these different things all over the place. It's very distributed right now. And I think in 2011, we'll start to see more consolidation of that. So a lot of them will kind of die because there just isn't a lot of adoption. People may start looking at it and say, I really need to focus on one particular platform or maybe this group of platforms to be able to connect with the people. As people start to, get introduced to these things, they, check out this place, check out that place, you start to get a feel for where do you actually get value and where are you not really getting much value. And the more that people start gravitating towards the areas where they're getting value, those applications, those websites, those, the new media that's out there, then I think we'll see a consolidation of the platforms here.
Hello, I'm Hal Maycumber. I'm the managing principal of Lean Project Consulting. You can find us at leanproject.com. My prediction is that the work that's been going on with social media and particularly the extensiveness that it's shown up in the project environment is going to produce a big shift. In fact, the genie's out of the bottle. What's happening today, and particularly on the kinds of projects that your listeners are doing, is we're professionals. We're engineers. We're highly trained people. We've got special skills. And with social media, we now have great access to each other, that we don't need the typical project organization for our support. In addition, we don't need the kind of project management that we've been getting all these years in this world of technical projects. So what's going to happen? 2011 is the year that we're going to struggle in the open with what is the role of project managers in this setting now that we've got this socially connected group of professionals.
And those were the predictions of Mark Perry, Tom Mokel, Elizabeth Herron, Terry Dersher, Ian Knox, Josh Nankivell, and Hal Maycomber. You will hear more of their predictions in the next episode. That's it for today. Thank you very much for listening. As always, you can find us on the web at pm-podcast.com. If you are a PMP or PGMP and you are looking for a simple and effective way to earn your PDUs, then try our sister podcast, the PDU Podcast. Get a new webinar and at least one new PDU every month on autopilot. Stop by at pducast.com. That's pducast.com. Please send your emails to info@pm-podcast.com, and when you write, please don't forget to put that dash into pm-podcast.com and tell me where in the world you are writing from. And finally, we have this. It's a twist on the old saying, all's fair in love and war for project managers. It goes like this: all's fair in scheduling and billing. Until next time.